So, Lucas, without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, our first finalist, Lucas Siminer, founder of Clusiv.
Awesome. Can you confirm my screen is sharing there for me, Gio?
Yes.
Perfect. Hello, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity today. My name is Lucas Siminer. I'm the CEO and founder of Clusiv. I'm a former paratrooper and a Purple Heart recipient from the war in Afghanistan. Clusiv is the world's first e-learning and accessible onboarding platform for blind and visually impaired people. The problem that we're solving is currently that there's 7.6 million blind and visually impaired Americans all across America. When we look at this on a global scale, there's 49.5 million blind and visually impaired people. Right now, there exists no technical training. Everything is in person. Most of it is focused on, autonomy of life, gaining back some of the skills and regaining parts of their agency so that they can, live independently. But what that's done is left us really vulnerable to things like COVID and in general left blind and visually impaired people out of the modern workforce. Oftentimes, and in fact all the time nowadays, blind and visually impaired Americans specifically are relegated to menial labor for menial wages. And to put this into perspective with some statistics, there's roughly 80% unemployment rate of blind and visually impaired Americans. The average salary amongst them that are employed is $27,000 a year. We compound this with the fact that they often have to live in high cost of living areas, as each state only has one or two federally subsidized employment centers focused on hiring them. So they have to live in a higher cost of living area, make less money, and have no room for upward mobility or growth. That is until Clusiv came around. Clusiv has two product lines. We have Skillset, which is our e-learning platform for blind and visually impaired people. That is hyper-focused on vocational tracks. So for example, the first track we launched with is that of a sales development representative. These are remote capable jobs. They average a 2x starting salary, 2x the starting salary of what the current average salary is. And it's all remote capable. So it's self-paced, self-taught. They go through it and they have help from their counselors that assign it. The second piece of what Clusiv does is our custom accessible onboarding. We give SMBs, small to medium-sized businesses, up to enterprises, the ability to hire and train blind and visually impaired people for jobs they never could have prior. These jobs are often remote in nature, pay way more than the menial labor that they're currently doing and relegated to. And we give companies the ability to really call their shot. They get to say, we're going to hire 100 blind people. We're going to have a fully blind sales team. They get to make DE&I initiatives that really make a difference, move the needle, and change societal perceptions, which is Clusiv's main mission. So how does this work, right? Most people don't know that blind people can even use a computer. And if that's you, don't worry. It's kind of normal, right? Because this community has been kind of shoved into a corner and kept in the dark. So for a sighted person, if they look at a new piece of software, an application, they're going to scan it just like a book, top to bottom, left to right. They're going to look for high-colored buttons with big call-to-action words on them, right? New lead, add a lead, delete something, right? Open a message, reply. For a blind and visually impaired person, they use a screen reader, and how a screen reader works is it reads every line of code off of the screen in front of them. That being said, there's no inflection in a screen reader. There's no way for that to happen. So everything sounds the same, and it's up to them to parse through what these actually mean. And if there's things like nested menus or drop-down menus, then that can be very disturbing to them, or confusing to them, I should say. So what we do is we start with the e-learning and accessible onboarding to change the perception and people in general in the workforce, taking them truly from being disabled into being completely differently abled. They just do their jobs a different way using the Clusiv software. Our future looks like accessible gamification, K through 12 opportunities, as a lot of the problems that we're solving here at the adult learning and vocational rehab side of things can be prevented at an earlier age if curriculums could be accessible instead of school systems having to throw just more adults at the problem, which is what currently happens. So we solve that there. When we get into the DoD, government agencies in general, the ability to truly have a well-paid blind workforce that is accessible, that is capable of doing all the job duties of anyone else, they just need specific training. That is where Clusiv comes in. So our traction so far is one of the most exciting things to talk about, right? We've had 2 pilots with a total of 15 students go through. And I love saying this, I smile about it. Of the 15 students we've had come through, 100% of them did get placed. The average salary increase was 1.8 times what they were making prior. We are now 3 months down the road from that as we've begun our scalable build out, and that has rendered a still 100% employed rate. None of them have lost their jobs. One of them has even gotten promoted. So that being said, this has a great impact. We're truly changing lives, giving people
1 minute
to regain their agency. And thank you, Gio. With that being said, I'll say that our competition consists of nonprofit agencies that are inherently risk averse and don't have the ability to technically scale like we do. Our team is very diverse, full of leaders and really driven people, and winning the grant money today would help us hire on an additional blind experience engineer that helps us create content and learning paths, and also speed our production to get this launched and help the most people possible. So thank you all for your time, consideration, and this great opportunity, Bob Evans. Company as a whole, this is just amazing. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Lucas.
But no, I have to say that what I'm doing is something that a lot of people told me was not possible. I'm fighting for a group of people that have been underestimated, kept in the corner, locked away, and I'm fighting for them. And so this is one more piece of validation, one more proof in our pudding that I'm a capable founder, that I'm doing this, and that our company is going to change the lives of millions of people. So thank you all so incredibly much.
Right. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks to all of our finalists. But